Morning, Dwight.
Who are you?
Who am I? I'm Jim. We've been working together for 12 years. Weird joke, Dwight.
You're not Jim. Jim's not Asian.
Hey guys, when I first started this project, I thought the idea was quite silly. The idea that Asian Americans are bad drivers is not, at least taken at face value, something that is very damaging or serious. The extent of which most people have heard about this stereotype are in bad stand-up routines.
A lot of people think Asians are bad at driving. I think Asians are bad at driving. But like only because it's really hard to drive when all you can hear is the voices of your parents telling you you're not good enough.
Or one-off jokes on a TV show.
From now on, I too will be abstinent. I'll be as untouched as the turn signal in an Asian woman's car.
How much signal I need to cut across 8 lanes? None? I turn now. Good luck, everybody else!
But what I have found after delving into this issue, however, is that this stereotype is a result of something far more nefarious and a symptom of a larger problem regarding Asian Americans and their role in the United States. The first step in understanding why this stereotype is so damaging is to understand why it exists. This stereotype first emerged from Asian American immigrants when they first entered the United States. Because of the fact that Asians are not big on driving in their original countries, when they immigrate into the United States, they of course are going to be slightly worse at driving than their Caucasian counterparts. There has been an active ongoing narrative shift in pop culture to go against this negative stereotype of Asians being bad drivers, and even some really famous professional Asian drivers in the NASCAR scene making huge strides, but this stereotype still seems to exist. What is really confusing about this stereotype is that there seems to be no actual fact behind this. In fact, Asian Americans are responsible for the least amount of car accident-related deaths in America. Why does this happen? I believe this is because of something called confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is a tendency to favor information that confirms one's beliefs or opinions while ignoring evidence that contradicts them. This bias can lead to a distorted view of reality and a lack of consideration of alternative perspectives or evidence. Because of this preconceived notion of Asians being bad drivers, whenever someone comes across another person driving on the highway, if that person makes a mistake, that mistake will become more memorable because that person is Asian. Confirmation bias is something that plagues our current social, political, and economic scene. People from two opposing sides on the political spectrum might not listen to what the other side has to say because their views are so skewed by confirmation bias. The problem of confirmation bias is something that goes just beyond Asian Americans. However, there's something really unique about the stereotyping of Asians and this stereotype's relationship with Asian Americans in the United States. The stereotype of bad Asian driving perpetuates the idea that Asians are inferior or weak by reinforcing negative perceptions and biases about their abilities. This stereotype suggests that Asians are not capable of driving competently or safely, which also implies that they lack the intelligence or skill to perform basic tasks. This makes it all the more important to understand that stereotypes are not true. Asians statistically have the safest and best driving, but yet the stereotype of them being bad drivers still exists. Stereotypes are not thoughts of our own. They are taught to us subliminally by society. Whether it be from Asians being bad at driving to a police officer profiling a black man walking down the street, stereotypes are dangerous and we should all actively counteract it. Even you right now thinking about stereotypes is actively working against it. The next time you catch yourself having a thought that comes from a stereotype, you should flag it for review and think about deeply why you had that thought to begin with. 10 times out of 10, you probably didn't teach yourself that thought and it was instilled to you by society. Most of all, it is important to follow what Raymond said in Oscar-winning film Everything Everywhere All at Once and
Please! Can we just stop fighting? I don't know. The only thing I do know is that we have to be kind.